Welcome back as we continue on with our season previews for the 2025 season with the Kubota Highland Racing Sprint Car Series. We're moving on today to Brenham Crouch, the new driver of the CJB Motorsports number 5. And I know what you're thinking, Chase, you got the new font on the thumbnail there. Why don't you have a new magnet yet for the number 5? And I know, man, I'm slacking. I'm trying to figure it out. Do I want to buy all new magnets for all the new number fonts for High Limit? I probably will, because I think that everybody besides Brent Marks and Tyler Courtney, I'm pretty sure they all have brand new number fonts. So I am probably going to bite the bullet and get all new number fonts for both the Outlaws and High Limit, which can be a little bit expensive, but we want to try and keep everything up to date here with the channel. As you know, we are very up to date with technology here on the Rodman Rundown. We've got the latest and greatest technology here with the whiteboard. But continuing on, Brenham Crouch, the 19-year-old driver out of Lubbock, Texas. That 19-year-old that makes him the youngest driver on the tour this year. It's a Maxim chassis, as we mentioned, for CJB Motorsports. The crew chief on the car, that was one of the big storylines over the offseason, was who was going to be the crew chief of the car. It sounded like Barry Jackson was going to retire as a full-time on-the-road guy. But some things happened, and now Barry is back as the crew chief full-time as of right now. Car chief is Eric Coyle, or McLovin as we know him. Tire specialist will be Anthony Bartolo. So those are the three guys working on the car. And Brenham Crouch with this team coming back for year 2 on the High Limit Tour. Last year ran for his dad's team, and now running for a new team this year that was formerly driven by Spencer Baston. Now, the 2025 schedule for Brenham Crouch, you see a lot of red on there, 14 tracks that he has not been to before, including a lot right there at the beginning of the season. Las Vegas will be the first race that he's not seen before, the first track he has not seen before. And then Kern, Paris, Arizona, Vado, Route 66, Dodge City, and Texarkana. And it just continues on. Every single one of these drivers are missing a lot of the tracks at the very beginning of the schedule. And Brenham Crouch is no different. Fremont, Ransomville, Red Cedar. Now, what is interesting here, Crouch is the only driver so far that has actually been to 141 Speedway in Wisconsin, but he's not been to Red Cedar, Florence, Bridgeport, or Path Valley. The one track that he does have a win at that is on the High Limit schedule is Lake Ozark Speedway, and so we'll see if he can have a good run there. Last year, SprintCarRatings.com had Crouch as the 91st best driver overall in sprint car racing. And so before that, I want to say he was up a couple more spots on their ranking system the year that he won the IRA championship. But 91st overall, I think that we will see that number drastically improve, maybe into the top 60, 65. That's my guess for Crouch at the end of 2025. 2024, when you compare him to the other 16 drivers that ran with the High Limit Racing Series, his best stat, he had 5 dash appearances, which was 14th best with the series, and a 13.0 qualifying average, which was 15th best out of the 16 last year. And then, as I mentioned, there were 16 drivers. Brenham Crouch was 16th in points. And, you know, I was talking to his dad at the end of last year, and they said, I mean, he admitted that, I mean, they threw him to the wolves. Only had 1 year of 410 racing under his belt. His second year in a sprint car was on the national stage, and now year 3, he's doing it again. 2024, the overall stat line with High Limit Racing looks like this. 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 0 laps led, a minus 29 in feature plus minus, a qualifying average of 13.0, and a finishing average of 16.8. So obviously, Crouch, very young, still trying to figure it all out. He started off this year pretty well. He obviously locked into the Chili Bowl Nationals after running second on his prelim night, led a bunch of laps there in that one. And then with the Outlaws, he made 2 out of the 4 features at the Volusia Speedway Park during Dirt Car Nationals. So not a bad start at all for this new team and driver combination. Now, down here in the strengths department, I've got a couple of items here, including the guys that are behind him, helping him out here. One of them is Hall of Fame driver Paul McMahon. It was announced when this whole thing came out that Crouch was driving this car that Paul McMahon will be the driving coach for Brenham Crouch. And so that's a pretty damn good guy to have behind you. I think Paul McMahon, 30-something World of Outlaws wins. He's a Hall of Famer. Was one of the best qualifiers in the series when he used to run in the Outlaws full time. And so I'm not sure how much Paul McMahon is actually going to be at the track, to help out Brenham Crouch, but I would have to guess it's going to be for quite a bit. Paul McMahon does have a real job with quick car gauges, and so I would have to think that would take him away a little bit from being at the racetrack. But if Paul McMahon is at, say, half the races this year, I think that is definitely going to be a benefit for Brenham Crouch. And then the other guy in his corner is obviously Barry Jackson, who has been doing it for so very long, has had so much success with so many different race car drivers. And so I am very excited to see how this goes. Barry Jackson, seasoned veteran, paired up now with 19-year-old Brenham Crouch in his junior year of sprint car racing. A very interesting dynamic, and so I am excited to see how it goes for these two guys. Also, he did make it through year one. I mean, there was obviously some struggles, no wins, no top fives, 2 top tens, whatever. But he did make it through that first year, had a couple of bright spots in there. Like I said, those 2 top tens coming at Portsmouth Raceway Park, and the other one was a 10th place run. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I cannot, I'll get it here in just a moment. Yeah, but 2 top tens. There was a couple of moments where, he showed some really good flashes. Remember back to Tulare, he blew Brad Sweet's doors off for the heat race win there, his first ever time to Tulare, and was able to win the heat race and go to the dash. So, he made it through year one. We talked about that same thing with Casey Kane, made it through his first ever national season as well last year. And so that can only help Brenham Crouch. Doing 51 races last year, now doing 60 again this year, maybe knows a little bit more of what to expect at this level. And so I think that'll definitely go a long way for him. And then also under the strengths is to ride the highs, right? When he has a good, the other top 10 was at Kokomo. I knew I was going to get it, but to ride the highs here for Brenham Crouch. If he qualifies well, soak that in and, try and turn that into a good night. You go quick time with high limit. You're going to start on the outside of row number 2. I'm not saying that Crouch is going to go quick time. Qualifying average was one of his better stats from last year. But if you have a good qualifying effort, try and take advantage of that. Try and turn that into a good night. We saw him at the Chili Bowl. He rode the high of that, running well in his heat race and his qualifier, and led the feature, finished second, and made it into the Saturday portion of the Chili Bowl. I know that's midgets, that's not sprint cars, but I think for a young driver like this to have something positive go your way on a race night, say a good qualifying effort, a good heat race, just ride those highs and try and soak that all in and turn it into the best run that you possibly can. We did see him do that on a couple of occasions last year on the High Limit Racing Tour. Now, in the improve on category here, I think you guys have noticed here when it comes to the improve on things, some of them are not really stat-based. It's just kind of broadly speaking for the driver. And that's what I have there on that first line is the new team. I mean, they are 4 races into this combination. We thought we might see them last year at World Finals. That did not happen. So they've ran 4 races, all of them coming at Dirt Car Nationals. We saw how tough the field was there, and they made the show 2 out of the 4 nights. Not too bad at all. I don't remember Crouch ever being to Volusia before. Maybe I'm wrong on that. He could have been there the year before. But that is a super tough field, super tough racetrack. And Brenham was able to make it 2 out of 4 nights with this brand new operation. Well, operation to him, obviously. And then the consistency, 16.8 average finish, only 2 top tens. You hope to see a little bit more consistency this year from Brenham Crouch. And he's shown that he can be consistent in the past. I know the IRA is a little bit different than High Limit, but he's won the IRA championship before. And in order to win championships, you must be consistent. So he has shown that he can do that in the past, but can he do it at the next level? We hope to see him take that next step this year. And then confidence as well for Brenham Crouch is something that I think he's looking for a little bit this year. There was a couple moments last year where he did look confident. Those top 10 runs, I think he was a couple spots out of the Knoxville Nationals main event, if I'm not mistaken, in the B. So I think once he kind of gets that confidence, gets that consistency, I think more like when he gets the consistency is when he's going to get that confidence, and that should lead to bigger and better things for Brenham Crouch this year. So a couple of items there on the improve on. Now let's move on to the prediction, what I think he is going to do this year. I've got him somewhere between 11th to 13th in points. And so I think he's going to be kind of mixed in there with a couple of the rookies. So him battling with all 4 of the rookie drivers this year. You throw Casey Kane in the mix in that area as well. And so Crouch, I think he will improve upon the last place points last year. I think he will be up a couple spots this year, having that experience of a full season on the tour. I think he's going to get somewhere between 10 to 12 top 10s. He only had 2 last year. But as we mentioned, it was all brand new things for him last year. And so I think that getting 10 to 12 this year, we did lose quite a few guys off the high limit tour from last year that would be contenders on a nightly basis. McFadden, PPM, Corey Day, right? Those types of guys, Zeb Wise, that were going to be, top 10 guys on a nightly basis. You lose them, and that's an opportunity for Brenham Crouch to try and take advantage of that and run up inside those top dozen or so cars. And then also trying to secure a charter spot for the CJB team. Last year, they were 8th overall in the point standings. To get one of those charters, it takes your first season to your second season, and the best 5 as far as the average finish and the points goes, it goes to that team. So this is going to be close here. Crouch is going to need to run maybe 10th, 11th in points to try and make that happen and beat guys like Thorson, Casey Kane, the Book 13 is in the mix, the Ridge and Sun Racing team as well, and I'm missing one off the top of my head. Did I say Thorson already? I think I already did. And the Rudine team as well, right? So this is going to be a close battle for that 5th charter spot. The 5-car, decent run last year, 8th in points. So you got to hope that Brenham Crouch is up a couple more spots in the points to try and get them that charter position for 2026. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below about Brenham Crouch. I am excited to see how he goes. Crouch is one of my favorite guys out there on the tour. He just keeps it real. I feel like he doesn't really have too many expectations going into this year, and he's just a really chill, really relaxed kid, and I really like him a lot, and I hope he has a great season. So we'll see how it goes for CJB Motorsports on the High Limit Racing Tour in 2025. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon.